Welcome back. Victims of the KZN floods remain in shelters 3 months after the disaster. Last month, a group of displaced people went to Durban City Hall to demand answers on the disaster response. The group is currently being housed at the Transnet Hostel as they wait for proper accommodation. To look into their plight, our reporter Lethiwe Mdluli joins us now. Lethiwe, a very good morning to you. I mean, it's just absolutely horrific to think that people are still living in shelters 3 months after the floods actually took place in KwaZulu-Natal. And then the big question will be, what is the hold-up with being able to provide people with adequate alternatives for housing?
Well, Faith, I've actually been speaking to those victims that lost everything during those floods, and they are saying that they are still waiting for answers from the government here in KZN and also the eThekwini municipality. You'd remember that back in April, over 6,000 people were left displaced, and they were then housed in these shelters across eThekwini. And some of those victims are saying that it's been 3 months and there's no proper plan in place, and they are urging government to make a plan. But others have now decided to invade this building here in Montclair. It's a Transnet building, and they invaded this place last week because they were saying that they are tired of living in these shelters. They are saying that some of these shelters are not properly provided with the basics such as water, electricity, and of course there is overpopulation happening in those shelters. As you can see, this building that they invaded is a Transnet building, and they have been telling me that at least here they do have running water, they do have electricity, and there is furniture, which means that they have beds. They are not sleeping on the floor. I also want to bring in a few residents that actually came here last week. You remember that my colleague Manqoba Mchunu was here when the invasion happened. I want to bring in Oma Lababahlela Faith and just talk to them about their living conditions. Boma, thank you so much for joining la endabeni zaka eNCA. Ngicela nje ukubuza ukuthi yini eyanenza ukuthi nisuke la kade nihlala khona kuma shelter nize nizohlala kule ndawo.
Kuma shelter kwandiswa indaba yamanzi ayisengena eholo manje thina ngithi njengoba sigula nje kuthiwa hayi ngeke fanti sizobhekelwa indawo thesizwa ngakusasa kwathiwa siqoqeni sizala sasesilethwa lana.
Ngiyazi ukuthi kulezi ndawo lezi zama shelter beningahleli kahle njengoba usho ukuthi beningenawo amanzi amanye bengene endaweni la nihleli khona manje kule building nihleli kahle kodwa
hleli kahle kakhulu. Asikuboni ukumbi nabantu bakhona futhi hayi abasiphethe kahle.
Anihleli ngokusaba manje ngoba phela le ndawo enihleli kuyona indawo kaLoliwe, indawo kaTransnet.
Kona siyasaba ngoba phela asikakahlangani naye. Sizwe ukuthi uyasitetela into isihlale noma cha. Sisasaba.
Yes. Umkhandlu wona weTheku noma uhulumeni la eKZN uthini ngokusuka kwenu kulezi ndawo abanibeka kuzona nize nizohlala kule ndawo?
Hayi mina ngazi ngoba angazi lutho nje nangomkhandlu loyo.
Kodwa ke ikuphi enikudingayo kumkhandlu weTheku?
Cela ukuthi asakhele izindlu ngoba manje sihleli kabuhlungu lokusehlisa senyusa thina siyagula nokugula. Cela asize ngezindlu zokuhlala.
Faith, I also want to bring in another resident. Ma ngicela ningitshele nje ukuthi njengoba nihleli la anisabi nje ukuthi nizokhishwa.
Siyasaba ngoba asizwa asikahlali permanent. Kusala ukwehliwa kwenyuka kusalungiswa leyo ndawo ukuthi sihlale permanent la.
Nisukelende kade nihlala khona nizila.
Sisuso ukuthi nemalnetha kuyenzeka kuphinde kungena amanzi futhi. Njoba ngokunye sake sasuswa sayiswa eholo eWema sekugcwele amanzi lapha la besihleli khona eThekwini.
Umkhandlu usake wafika kodwa uzobheka ukuthi nihleli kanjani kule ndawo?
Hey, angaze ngizwe kuthiwa bakhona, angaze ngibabone. Angaze ngibabone phela ngabe ngiqamba amanga ukuthi singangababona.
Njengoba nje nalahlekelwa yikho konke ngalesi sikhathi sama floods, ninazi ingubo la nina ukudla la nihleli khona.
Ngesikhathi sisehholo bebesilethela ibhantshi nengubo nokudla. Bebesilethela.
Lana niyakuthola kodwa lokho.
Hayi uthe sisukile kule nsuku nje wasukile lapha kwathiwa kukhona ukudla khona babefikile baka Red Cross bathi bazosilethela ukudla kusho ukuthi kwafika sesilana ke bakulandile ke izolo ke basinikeza ke kusho ukuthi sifanele sizame ukuthi sithole into zokupheka.
Ngiyabonga kakhulu ma.
Yebo ngiyabonga nami.
Well, Faith, these are some of the residents that decided to leave those shelters that they were placed under and come and invade this building because they are saying that they didn't receive a lot of basics in those shelters. This room that I'm standing in at the moment is one of the rooms in these buildings. They do have a bed, they do have running water as well, and we do know that they have electricity. And the ladies that I was speaking to were saying that this building is actually better for them than where they were living before. And they are urging the government and the eThekwini municipality to come up with a plan. And they are also saying that they do need housing. It's been 4 months since the floods, and this is actually the 5th month for those people that have been left in shelters, and they still haven't received any answers.
Yeah, Lethiwe, more than anything else, I think it's a question around what are officials actually saying regarding just the project, ahead in terms of being able to provide people with housing as a result. I know that there was issues around National Treasury signing off on budget, and then budget was signed off, and then it was how is it that money gets dispersed. But it seems as though nothing is being done. Do we know anything as yet from KZN provincial officials who are able then to attest to why is it taking so long? Or is something being done? It's just that time is of the essence.
Well, Faith, the last time I spoke to the Department of Human Settlements here in the province, the MEC did assure us that they are trying to find places where they can build temporary housing. They were saying that about 70 structures have been built, but unfortunately over 6,000 people remain homeless, as we do know that in these shelters that the eThekwini municipality is currently looking after, there's about 6,000 people there, and none of them have been moved so far. So we will be speaking to the eThekwini municipality as well, just to find out any of their plans moving forward, when these people will be moved to those temporary housing structures, and we will try to get the Department of Human Settlements in KZN and find out a way forward for these people, because they did promise them some temporary housing shelters about last month. We're also going to be speaking to the Deputy Mayor, because it's been very hands-on with these projects, trying to get these people some housing, but so far it looks like there's not been any action when it comes to moving these people into those temporary structures.